1. German chamomile. German chamomile is an annual herb that belongs to the family of Asteraceae, the family of sunflower and daisy. The plant has a smooth stem that reaches a height of 8 to 36 inches, 20 to 92 centimeters, and develops shallow roots. The flowers look like those of the daisy plant. They are consisted of white petals and a conical yellow center. The chamomile flowers can bloom between spring and autumn, but in most cases they bloom from late spring to early summer. The scientific name of German chamomile is Matricaria recutita, Matricaria chamomilla or Chamomilla recutita. German chamomile is one of the most important medicinal herbs. The plant can give a series of natural and high-value products. It is widely cultivated commercially mainly for the essential oil that is contained in its flowers. German chamomile essential oil has multiple uses, as it is used in pharmaceutical, cosmetic, fragrance, personal care and beverage industries. The chamomile flower also contains valuable constituents, such as terpenoids, flavonoids and other compounds with reported pharmacological activity. Moreover, dried flowers of German chamomile are used for preparing teas as well as various other products, for example skin lotions. Finally, German chamomile plant is grown as ornamental and is widely included in various flower arrangements. Russian, Poland, Hungary, Slovakia, USA, Canada, Australia and New Zealand are major commercial producers of German chamomile. 2. How to grow German chamomile at home. German chamomile plant care. Growing German chamomile at your yard is an excellent choice, either as an ornamental or as a way to have fresh material for teas. It is an annual resilient plant that can withstand low night temperatures, but prefers full sun exposure, otherwise it will produce fewer flowers. You can start German chamomile from seed, either by sowing directly in the field or by creating a seed bed and transplant only the vigorous plants. Although many farmers and gardeners sow German chamomile seeds during early spring, the most suitable period is late fall. During their first weeks in the field, young seedlings need a lot of water in order to get strong. After this period, in most cases they can rely solely on rainfalls, provided there isn't any period of prolonged drought during spring. In most cases, German chamomile does not need any fertilizer in order to produce flowers, as it grows well even in poor soils. You can harvest the flowers from late spring to summer, just before, during or after the full bloom. Not all the flowers are ready for picking at the same time, so you can harvest the flowers every other day for a period of 15 to 20 days. 3. Growing German chamomile for profit. Starting a German chamomile farm. How to grow commercially German chamomile. Growing commercially German chamomile for essential oil and or dried flowers has raised much attention during the last 2 decades. Matricaria recutita is a plant that can grow well in an average environment and can produce different products that can target different industries. German chamomile essential oil has multiple uses, as it is used in the pharmaceutical, cosmetic, fragrance, personal care and beverage industries. The chamomile flower also contains valuable constituents, such as terpenoids, flavonoids and other compounds with reported pharmacological activity. Moreover, dried flowers of German chamomile are used for preparing teas as well as various other products, for example skin lotions. The international market for German chamomile oil has been growing during the last 2 decades and farmers from many countries consider shifting from traditional crops, wheat, maize, to German chamomile. Growing commercially chamomile involves a series of activities. The plant is annual. The seeds can be either sown directly in the field or sown in a seed bed and transplanted 3 to 4 weeks later. There are pros and cons in each method. Irrigation, fertilization, pest control and weed control are very important and affect greatly the final output. Harvesting the flowers is the most difficult and labor-intensive operation when growing professionally German chamomile. Unfortunately, not all the flowers are ready for picking at the same time. Consequently, most farmers employ small groups of workers that pick flowers every 2 to 4 days, in 3 or more harvesting sessions, within a period of 15 to 20 days. Processing, Storing and distillation methods are also extremely important for the final yield of essential oil. 4. German chamomile growing conditions. German chamomile climate. Chamomile can grow well from the temperate climate of Eastern Europe, to the mild climate of Mediterranean countries and to the subtropical climate of South Africa. It is a resilient plant that can survive night temperatures as low as 14 degrees Fahrenheit, -10 degrees Celsius. The best climates for the average chamomile plant are those with long warm days, enough sunshine hours, and cool nights. Full sun exposure is necessary for the production of essential oil. During the period of active growth, late winter to spring, the plants thrive in a day temperature of 60 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, 15 to 20 degrees Celsius, and full sun. It is necessary for all chamomile growers to make an extensive research on cultivars that produce well locally. German chamomile soil requirements and preparation. German chamomile plants can grow in all well-drained soils. Your chamomile plants will most probably produce a minimum yield, even if you do not take any measure towards soil analysis, improvement and soil preparation. However, the best yields for commercial cultivation are often achieved in sandy loam deep soils with pH close to 7 and good drainage. Although there are reported cases in which chamomile plants give a good yield in pH close to 9, such a high soil pH must be avoided, because then the crop needs special operations and management, for example more irrigation sessions etc. The first step towards effective soil preparation is the soil analysis and pH. The soil pH should be corrected to desired levels, 6, 5 to 7, 5. Moreover, the soil analysis will reveal any nutrient deficiencies, so that the farmer can take corrective actions under the guidance of a licensed agronomist. In most cases, it is beneficial to add 8 to 10 tons of well-rotted cattle or poultry manure per hectare and plow well before the direct seeding or the planting of young seedlings. In cases of severe nutrient deficiencies, farmers may apply soil fertilizer NPK 20, 20, 20, 200 pounds or 90 kilograms per hectare, at the same time with transplanting and irrigate well the young seedlings. Ask a licensed agronomist. 5. Growing German chamomile from seed and planting. How to grow German chamomile from seed. Seeding rate and planting distances. German chamomile plants are propagated by seed. Many farmers sow directly the seeds in the field during early autumn, while others sow the seeds in indoor seed beds during autumn and transplant about 4 weeks later. Each method has pros and conservative. Sowing directly in the field costs much less than creating seed beds with thousands of plants and transplant them one by one in the field, something that is labor intensive. On the other hand, direct seeding in the field is risky, as the grower cannot control the temperature and humidity levels during the germination period. Thus, direct seeding may result in poor germination rates if the conditions are not optimum. Finally, more weeds will normally develop through direct seeding, contrary to transplanting, where the plants will be transplanted in a clean field and will cover the ground quickly. Thus, they will not let the weeds develop and establish themselves. We will present both ways. Sowing indoors in the seed bed. In early autumn, we fill a seed bed with a seed starting potting mix. We plant 2 to 3 seeds in each individual pot of the seed bed, and we cover with a very thin layer of soil mix. Alternatively, we need about 21 to 28 ounce 0.60, 8 kilograms of seeds for a large seed bed of 5381 foot, 500 square meters, in order to produce enough plants for 1 hectare. 1 hectare equal 10.000 square meters equal to 47 acres. In any case, we have to place the seeds at the surface and cover lightly with soil. If we sow them even 2 inches, 5 centimeters, deep, they will not germinate. We can also mix the seeds with river sand, 1 part of seeds with 10 parts of river sand. Some farmers cover the seed bed with a plastic bag. In any case, the temperature must be adjusted at 60 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, 15 to 20 degrees Celsius. We check every day the seed bed, and if the soil is dry, we water lightly with a spray bottle. The soil should be kept moist, but not soggy, because otherwise the seeds will not germinate. We can remove the plastic bag and transfer the seed bed next to a window with exposure to sunlight, but only after the seeds have started to germinate. We then continue to water the seed bed until the plants are ready for transplanting. Transplant can normally take place 4 weeks after sowing. We shall loosen the soil and smooth the surface of our field. We transplant our seedlings leaving a distance of 8 to 10 inches, 20 to 25 centimeters, between each plant. We press slightly the soil around the roots. We water carefully every other day, keeping the soil moist, but not soggy, until they grow well. Direct seeding in the field. We shall first plow well and loosen the soil. Then, it is essential to remove any weeds and small or bigger stones that may exist. We water the planting area slightly and then we sow the seeds. We need 21 to 28 ounce. 0.608 kilograms of seeds per hectare. We may mix the seeds with river sand, 1 part of seeds with 10 parts of river sand, so that the seeds will stay in the surface of the field and not be removed by insects, wind, etc. The seeds are very small, so we have to place them at the surface and cover lightly with soil. If we put them even 2 inches, 5 centimeters, deep, they will not germinate. We just cover slightly with soil and irrigate. The key from now on is to keep the soil moist but not soggy. The seeds should normally germinate within 2 to 3 weeks. We may have to thin the plants when they reach a height of 2 inches, 5 centimeters, leaving a distance of 8 to 10 inches, 20 to 25 centimeters, between them. 6 German chamomile water requirements. How to irrigate German chamomile. Chamomile plants can be sown directly in the field or transplanted during late autumn or early winter. In both cases, if there are no frequent rainfalls, they need to be watered regularly until the seeds germinate and the plants settle well and start to grow. After this period, the plants do not need regular watering unless there is a prolonged drought. During their active growth, late winter to spring summer, a potential water stress will have a negative effect in the essential oil yield. Most farmers irrigate chamomile through sprinklers, as flooding is generally avoided. In many cases, 4 to 6 irrigation sessions are applied throughout the plant life cycle. German chamomile can also grow well in non-irrigated fields, provided the annual precipitation exceeds 600 mm, but this figure can also be affected by other parameters, humidity, soil texture, etc. 7 German chamomile fertilizer requirements. How to fertilize German chamomile. In general, German chamomile is not a demanding crop in terms of fertilization. The fertilization rates are low in the average soil. However, growing commercially German chamomile in today's competitive landscape requires certain steps towards monitoring, improving and fixing soil nutrient deficiencies, so that our plants can give a high yield. As it happens in every other crop, there can't be any universal fertilization practice, because every field is different and has different needs. Performing soil analysis once a year is extremely important in order to diagnose nutrient deficiencies and take corrective actions. German chamomile growers often add 8 to 12 tons of well-rotted manure per hectare and plow well before they transplant the young plants or proceed to the direct seeding. Chamomile plant responds well to nitrogen fertilization up to a certain level. Nitrogen deficiencies have been reported to promote root growth and inhibit stem development, something that is not desirable for an annual plant that is grown for its flower. A common fertilization scheme involves adding 120 pounds, 54 kilograms, of NH4, 2SO4 per hectare during late winter, 1 hectare equal to 47 acres equal 10.000 square meters. In cases of severe N.P.K. deficiencies, farmers apply soil fertilizer NPK 20, 200 pounds or 90 kilograms per hectare, and plow well before transplanting or sowing. In many cases, German chamomile is cultivated as rotation crop between heavily fertilized plants, and in this case farmers do not apply any soil or water-soluble fertilizer. However, these are just common patterns that should not be followed without making your own research. Every field is different and has different needs. Your chamomile plants may or may not give higher yields in essential oil or dry flowers after the application of fertilizers. You can seek advice from a licensed agronomist after conducting a soil analysis. 8. German chamomile weed control. German chamomile weed management. Unfortunately, German chamomile plants often suffer from weeds, which compete with them in terms of space, access to sunlight, water and nutrients. The presence of weeds will have a negative effect in the quantity of fresh plant material harvested as well as in the quantity and quality of essential oil. The presence of weeds at critical stages of plant development can reduce the essential oil yield by 30 to 40%. It is necessary for all chamomile growers to have a sound weed control strategy, which may differ significantly between countries, law framework, means of production, industry to which the product is intended, etc. Growers shall be extremely careful when applying herbicides, because the chamomile plants attract honeybees and other beneficial insects. Ask a licensed agronomist. The first measures against weeds are taken with the first tillage, well before planting the seedlings or direct seeding in the field. Many commercial chamomile growers believe that at least 2 hand weeding sessions are necessary, the first 6 weeks and the second 12 weeks after direct seeding. We must always be proactive and not let any weeds produce and disperse their seeds in the field. 9. German chamomile harvest. When and how to harvest German chamomile. Harvesting the flowers is the most difficult and expensive operation when growing professionally German chamomile. Unfortunately, not all the flowers are ready for picking at the same time. Consequently, most farmers employ small groups of workers that pick flowers every 2 to 4 days, in 3 or more harvesting sessions, within a period of 15 to 20 days. Flowers are clipped or collected with special rakes. The chamomile flowers can bloom between spring and autumn, but in most cases they bloom from late spring to early summer. As it happens in nearly all herbs that are intended for distillation and essential oil extraction, knowing when exactly to harvest requires experience, sampling and a lot of trial and error effort. Harvesting at the early flowering phase, during or just before full bloom and then drying in shaded places is common. However, the client often dictates post-harvest and pre-distillation handling of the plant material. We must choose sunny days with mild weather and no wind in order to harvest. A potential rainfall at the day of the harvest will decrease the quality of the final product. Extreme heat and strong winds will also favor the evaporation of essential oil, so a portion of our product will be lost if it is too hot or windy. 10. German chamomile essential oil yield. German chamomile plant and essential oil yield per acre. The average fresh flowers yield of German chamomile is 3.5 tons, 3.500 kilograms equal 7716 pounds, per hectare, or 3.123 pounds per acre. The average dry flowers yield of German chamomile is 0.9 ton, 900 kilogram equal 1984 pounds, per hectare, or 803 pounds per acre. The average essential oil yield of German chamomile ranges from 0.3 to 0.5% of dry flowers yield. Thus, you can expect 5 to 7 pounds, 5 to 5 kilograms, of essential oil per hectare, or 6 pounds, 2 kilograms, per acre. Keep in mind that 1 hectare equal to 47 acres equal 10.000 square meters and 1 ton equal 1000 kilograms equal 2205 pounds. The color of the essential oil normally determines its quality. As a rule of thumb, the bluer the color the better the essential oil quality, because the intense blue color is a sign that the concentration of some desired compounds is increased. However, there can be exceptions to this rule. Keep in mind that these average yields are annual and these figures refer to healthy plants that are managed by professional growers. Keep also in mind that there can be significant deviations from these figures, as the yield greatly depends on many parameters: variety, climate, soil condition, fertilization, irrigation, weed and pest control, harvesting, distillation methods, etc. Especially the presence of weeds at critical stages of plant development can reduce the essential oil yield by 30 to 40%. 11 QNAS German chamomile. Is German chamomile a perennial? No, German chamomile, Matricaria recutita, is an annual and should not be confused with Roman chamomile, Chamomillum noble, which is a perennial. What is German chamomile used for? German chamomile plant can give a series of natural and high-value products. The essential oil contained in its flower has multiple uses, as it is used in pharmaceutical, cosmetic, fragrance, personal care and beverage industries. Moreover, dried flowers of German chamomile are used for preparing teas as well as various other products, for example skin lotions. Finally, German chamomile plant is grown as ornamental and is widely included in various flower arrangements.